My boyfriend asked to open our relationship over Friday night takeout. Casual, rehearsed, like he'd been waiting for the right moment to pull the pin. I could have said no. Instead, I watched him feel relieved that I didn't. That relief told me everything I needed to know, and exactly what I needed to do next. He'd been quieter than usual that evening. I hadn't pushed. I was too tired after a long week to chase something that hadn't shown itself yet. Then he put down his fork, said he'd been thinking that maybe before we took the next step together we should consider opening things up. That couples who explored ended up stronger, more certain. He said it like he was suggesting a weekend trip. I asked if there was someone specific. He called me paranoid, but he couldn't look at me. And in that silence, I made my decision. I said yes, not from heartbreak, not from shock, from something cold and deliberate that whispered, say yes. He looked stunned, then relieved. I smiled and refilled my wine. That night I found his phone. 3 apps, a girl named Lexi from his gym. Weeks of messages, multiple kisses buried in casual language, a hunger in those texts that had been quietly building for months, behind my back, behind our dinners, behind every normal Tuesday we'd ever had. He hadn't come to me with a question. He'd come to me with a solution. So before midnight I made my own. I matched with Ethan, pediatric cardiologist. His first message didn't mention my photos. He asked about my work, my actual work. We agreed to dinner and I waited until Ryan and I were eating together on Tuesday to mention it. Fork, down. Who is he? I showed him the profile. Something moved across his face that he couldn't pull back fast enough. You're actually going through with it? Friday I wore the red dress, the one he always saved for special occasions. He watched me walk out the door without finding a single word. 5 weeks followed. I saw Ethan 6 times. Ryan went on 3 dates with 3 different women. Date 1. He came home deflated. She hadn't looked like her photos, as if that was the problem. Date 2. He came home silent. Picked a fight about nothing. Went to bed without finishing dinner. Date 3. He never made it past the appetizers. Sat in his car outside the restaurant for an hour. Drove home alone. 3 women. 3 attempts. The same hollow result every time. Meanwhile, on our 4th date, Ethan got called into emergency surgery and asked if I wanted to wait at the hospital. I went. I sat in that waiting room watching parents grip each other in plastic chairs. Watching nurses move with quiet urgency that had no room for panic. Watching a world where every second carried irreversible weight. When Ethan finally came through those doors, exhausted, still in scrubs, he sat beside me and just exhaled. She's stable. 2 words, and I understood completely who I was sitting across from. A man who spent his days holding the most fragile lives imaginable, with absolute steadiness, and still made sure I knew I mattered. Ryan, meanwhile, had stopped eating, checked his phone constantly, then slammed it face down. One night through the wall, I heard him tell his friend Jay, I think I got this completely wrong, man. He'd written a story where I stayed home falling apart while he figured himself out. He had not written Ethan into that story. He had not written me accurately at all. And when it finally exploded on a Wednesday night, Lexi, the parking garage of our own building, the plan he'd built entirely around my expected devastation, he stood in our kitchen and said, I'm choosing you. Right now. I'm choosing you. I looked at him for a long moment. That's exactly the problem, Ryan. I was never supposed to be a choice you arrived at. I was supposed to be the priority you never questioned. You don't get credit for choosing me after you spent months trying to want someone else. That's not love. That's just running out of options. His face broke. I didn't. The full story is on the channel. Link below. Every confession, every date, the key on the letter, his mother's phone call, and the text from a pediatric cardiologist sent at 2 a.m. after 3 hours in surgery on a 4-year-old with a heart defect that made me laugh until my eyes watered. She's going to be okay. Sorry about the pasta. I owe you tiramisu. That's who was waiting on the other side of saying yes.